Okay, I got 7 o'clock. Rising time. This is a town board meeting for October 11th. First thing on the agenda is the public hearing Farmington Market Center rezoning continued from September 27th. Wow. Yeah.
Well, I talked with the Emily Smith at Fisher today. Their report is almost done. She said she would probably get it to us this week. And when we get it, we'll have to see what it says.
Okay.
And then from there, we will need to continue the public hearing tonight to your next town board meeting to identify what was in the report and see where the board wants to go at that time.
All right. We'll share it with everybody.
Yeah, and we got a draft resolution to the effect of as soon as we get it, we'll file it with the town clerk's office and it's available for public review.
Thanks, Sean. Mike, welcome. Welcome. Anything to add to the Farmington Market Center?
No, we're eagerly awaiting the results in the Fisher report and we engage with all the parties involved.
Okay.
We advance the project.
Good, thank you. Staff, any questions, comments on board? All right, so we have a resolution later tonight to continue the public hearing. Yes.
For any other public comment?
You do have a few online tonight.
Okay, so anybody in the room, any public comments or anybody online? Farmington Market Center have a comment? Thank you, Ron. Okay, we'll extend that. Like I said, we have a resolution later on tonight to extend that to our next meeting, October 25th. This time, call the meeting to order. Steve, will you lead us in the pledge of allegiance again?
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Steve. Next thing on is the agenda is approval of the minutes. We had our town board meeting on September 27th, and just prior to that, we had a workshop with Victor Central Pool Superintendent. Same day.
So moved.
Second. Motion second. Comments, corrections? All in favor? Aye. Privilege of the floor. Our property, Interstate Route 96, instead of zoning. We got 20 here.
Just this. Take some opening remarks and show that. Good evening, Supervisor Inglefield, members of the town board. By way of introduction, my name is Robert Brenner. I'm one of the property owners. My law partner, Brian Mahoney, is in the audience. I'm a land use and zoning attorney by trade, but this project's a little bit different for me because it's my project. So I'm a Farmington resident. This is a family parcel that my wife's family has owned for quite some time. Half of it was owned by them, the other half we bought from the DeFelice family. So if the last name Uyghur rings a bell to any of you, that's my wife's family. They've been a Farmington resident, I think, for 6 or 7 generations. So what we're proposing here is an assemblage of 2 parcels, approximately 150 acres. BME Associates will get into the technical details, but we're seeking to move forward with the residential subdivision. We've been in discussions with staff for a number of months, determining preliminarily what might be a right size for the project, addressing some preliminary technical concerns, and working to assemble our incentive zoning package, which BME intends to submit to you in short order. So just wanted to introduce myself and Brian, and we know that this is going to be a multi-month process, and we look forward to engaging with the board, the planning board, and town staff as we move forward. So with that, I'll pass it to Ryan Destro. Thank you, Ryan.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Ryan Destro from BME Associates.
To reiterate and to start off, we would like to thank the town board, the town supervisor and town staff for all the coordination efforts that we've had to get to this point. We're now able to present and introduce the proposed incentive rezoning for the power property Route 96 project. As Rob mentioned,
You said that?
But
as Rob mentioned, we met with
They just stopped because they saw my question.
numerous times over the past year and have incorporated their input and recommendations to get to the incentive zoning concept plan that we have before you tonight. We appreciate the feedback and understand, as Rob mentioned, that this is just the first step tonight, but we are looking forward to continuing our coordination efforts with the town as we move forward with this project. The subject property itself consists of 2 tax parcels consisting of a total of 150 or 145.8 acres approximately. It's located along the north side of near State Route 96. It's located to the east of the Fairdale Glen Townhomes and west of County Road 8 and extends all the way up to Colette Road at the north end of the project. The existing zoning for the property consists of 2 zoning districts, one being the limited industrial LI district, which encompasses approximately 2/3 of the subject property, extending from Route 96 to the north. The other area is a residential suburban RS25 zoning district. It's within the northern portion of the property and extends to Colette Road. The incentive zoning proposal for the overall 145-acre property consists of rezoning approximately 116 acres to a residential incentive zoning district. That will contain 216 single-family lots, which are for sale. It's a residential subdivision with a density of approximately 1.8 acres, 1 lots per acre, with a minimum lot size of approximately 11,900 square feet, or a minimum lot size of approximately 70 feet in width by 170 feet in depth. The residential portion will begin approximately 750 feet north of the Route 96 frontage and will extend all the way to the northern limits of the project to Colette Road. The property will be accessed by 2 new road connections to Route 96 on the south. It will also include 2 right-of-way stubs, one to the east and one to the west, to allow for potential future development of the parcels, both to the east and west respectively. The remaining portion of the site is the southern portion, which consists of approximately 29.1 acres. And that will be, that's proposed to be a LI/GB incentive zoning district. It will border along 96 and it will be reserved for general business and limited industrial uses only. And this is per the recommendation of the town to preserve the commercial corridor along Route 96. This incentive zoning proposal is consistent with the town of Farmington comprehensive plan recommendations for the property. Per chapter 4, the future land use portion of the comprehensive plan, quote, for example, the land located east of the Fairdale subdivision tract is zoned LI limited industrial. The town may want to reconsider rezoning the area east of Fairdale to a residential use, which would be more consistent with the existing land use pattern. This residential proposal is consistent with the adjoining residential uses to the west, as shown on the aerial exhibit, which is in front of you today. It was also provided in your packet, as well as the existing zoning exhibit that was provided. We've also identified in our letter accompanying this application how this proposal meets goals 1 through 3 of chapter 3 of the comprehensive plan, with 1 being the housing and residential land use goals, 2, managing the built environment, and 3, conservation, open space, and environmental protection. We've also provided a copy of the conventional plan, which shows how intense a project consisting primarily of LI uses would be on a property under the current zoning standards compared to the much less intense incentive zoning proposal before you, which includes approximately 57 acres of open space. the incentives and amenities for this project. Our letter accompanying this application to the town board also includes a breakdown of the incentives being proposed by the owner and developer, as well as the amenities proposed to benefit the town of Farmington in return for the incentives requested. We're also in receipt of a letter from the town supervisor on behalf of the town board dated August 12th, 2022, which states that the town board is willing to consider the amenities proposed by the owner developer for this project. In summary, we do appreciate sincerely any feedback from the town board that you have to offer tonight. And we're also seeking a referral to the planning board for report and recommendation to continue the incentive zoning process. So with that being said, we're happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Ryan. Good presentation. Board members, any questions?
Just a comment, I spoke with Ron about this, with the proposal. I know that if we do want to keep some of that general business and light industrial in front, but I think what we're looking for the planning board is to make sure that the use along 96 is also going to be probably more in line with like our Main Street district, make sure that it is. I trust the planning board to handle that, but to have some nice character to it, because we don't want a large residential neighborhood behind what looks like a very industrial warehouse style section. So that's what I do for the final site plan as far as how the general business and light industrial along 96. What we'd be looking for that character wise for it to look like, just to have a nice curb appeal, especially if there's going to be a couple hundred houses back there. I don't think anybody would want to drive into the neighborhood through a heavily industrial looking section.
Correct, and I would agree that, and I would say that Rob and Brian would agree with that as well, because ultimately they're going to want to sell their project and they're going to want to have a frontage along 96 that will work well with their residential portion of the property.
The open spaces, are they maintained in any way, or are they just purely left? I mean, I'm looking at just the overlay right now. There's not really much there. It's
Correct.
it's tilled land.
Right now, the open spaces have yet to be determined as far as the uses that we'd like to propose within them, whether they're just passive or recreational uses. I think we'll get into that as we continue with the planning process. And then we'll work with the developer, see what they'd like to propose, and then get into ownership of the open spaces as well.
That's just something we've run into issues in the past, is people not understanding exactly what that open space would be, or in other cases, parkland, which is defined parkland. And it's caused issues down the road as projects are developed.
Staff, I know you've seen a little bit of this so far. Any comments?
Everybody's looking at me. Just for the audience, with in any rezoning, the town board has a policy of referring it to the planning board for a report and recommendation. The planning board's report and recommendation is based on contents of the comprehensive plan, which Mr. Destro alluded to earlier this evening. And the planning board will be considering a report and recommendation from back to the town board at their first meeting in November, which I believe is the 2nd of November. The reason for that is the planning board does not have agenda items for their next meeting in October, plus the fact that they need more time to review the comprehensive plan and understand what's being presented to them. Normally, this would go out to them a week before the meeting, but in this instance, I think Dan is planning on sending it out as soon as you agree to the resolution drafted for you tonight. So they will have ample time to review it, as will all the department heads have time to review it in advance of the November 2nd meeting. The rationale here is the amenities being proposed balance with the incentives being requested? And is it in the interest of the town to consider these amenities as part of its planning program? And that will be in the report coming back from the planning board for your November 9th meeting, which is on a Wednesday because of election day.
Right. Do you understand? Comments? Anybody in the public?
I said one.
Yeah.
Just because I should have mentioned what you. Well, yeah, pretty much on the phone. So the northwest corner, there's a little bit of a gap. Is there a plan to potentially have the pedestrian access to the north of the property up to Colette Road? Obviously, it's gonna be like a stone's throw right here from our town park, so it'd be nice to have.
Yeah, that's one of the things.
So you gotta get across the railroad tracks.
One of the things we've looked at is a trail connection, so essentially sidewalk along the front for this property. It is through wetlands in that area, so we have to work that out. It would work around the actual wetland areas.
And it looks like in the front too is pretty tight for the wetland buffer. Currently on the plan, it's showing the buffer running through about 6 lots.
On the south end.
South.
On the south
yes.
end, yeah.
Well, it's, and some on the north does look like it's pretty tight on the north.
Anybody in the room got questions? Larry?
Yeah, when you say it's west of County Road 8, how far west of County Road 8 are you from?
This is County Road 8 here, so I would say it's roughly around 500 feet to the west.
500 feet?
Correct.
Because I only ran up to 750.
Okay, well, maybe your measurements are a little bit better than mine right now. But around that distance now.
One will be in that area right there, border there.
This land here.
Is it houses or what is it?
Yeah, this is all residential, single family lots proposed in this area.
Yes, yeah.
What are the 2 blank spaces in the middle on each side of the property lines? And I don't know if that's, parkland or if it's wetland or I can't really see the map,
Yeah, so as Ryan had said, that's yet to be determined.
okay, but is that hilly area or not?
Is what?
Is it hills or is it, wetland?
Yeah, it's definitely not wetlands up in that area.
Yeah.
In between the houses.
Yeah, I mean, is it hilly there or not?
Kind of explain the topography.
Yeah, it's gently sloping. So you, 96 is higher, then you come down to the wetlands and then there's a high point roughly in the middle of the property. And then it either drains to the north or to the south from that high
That
point.
answers it.
Anybody online have a question? One more time, anybody online?
We don't on this project, we do have other public.
Larry, another question?
Yeah, on the runoff. I know we'll be getting a lot of runoff from the east side of the building. And it's been flooding, like my land down the lower part, of my neighbor right across the road. What's going to be done to help control that flooding? Because this is going to create more runoff.
I mean, they have to put in retention ponds and direct, the water runoff for our regulations. It's all the stuff that the planning board will look at.
Is there any consideration being given to the fact that the east side of County Road 8, the ditches should be cleaned out so the water would flow to the east instead of turning, running back to the west?
Well, as you know, long before I was ever on the board, the town board tried to get a drainage district on the east side of County Road 8, and the residents weren't in favor of it. We can always approach that issue again, but we would want to go all the way to the east boundary line of the town, and include all those properties.
Well, I know probably about 25 years ago, when we put it out to the public on the other side, we had an agreement with Manchester to get the runoff right from one creek down there. They were gonna come off their side. It was shot on the borders on that side of the town. This time the runoff is gonna get worse than what we were in town on Bob Berry's back on.
Right.
It turns, it comes to west instead of going to the east the way it should.
I can also tell you that the end of November, we'll have a public hearing here. On Carroll County Highway is planning on replacing all the ditches on County Road 8 from 96 all the way to the county line, I believe, in 2023, and then paving County Road 8 and doing other improvements in 2024. So we'll have a public hearing here the end of November. And we'll be able to talk about that a little bit too. Sure.
And just as far as this goes, any project like this, they have to maintain the water on their property.
But once the ponds fill up, well, water's gotta go someplace.
So it's because we're an MS4 community, they have to present and propose and maintain a system that will generate at least the same amount or less runoff. So by doing these improvements, in theory, we should have less runoff when this is built. Well, it can't be any more than what we currently have.
There are already existing problems with the drainage that he's talking about, because he knows that I know it. And Peter and I have discussed that to no end.
But this project shouldn't impact what's already there. What I'm trying to explain is that whatever they do, they're gonna be within the requirements of DEC to have retention ponds, maintain the ponds, and provide less runoff than what's currently coming off of that lake.
Yeah, we'll be reviewing it. Black Creek runs through the property, so that'll be something they'll have to contend with.
Ron, you have some?
Yeah, a couple of things to respond to that issue of drainage. The farmland protection plan identified the need to take a look at extending the drainage district to a townwide drainage district. We have in the previous two county hazard mitigation plans identified the need to look at drainage in this area, not just in the town, but in the entire drainage district, which starts in Bloomfield, Victor, and continues on east into Manchester and points to the east, so it ends up into the outlet there. The federal government hasn't seen fit to fund those projects yet. The other thing I just would like to make a comparison of is we heard similar complaints from residents in Calm Lake when another project was proposed at Hathaway's Corners. Concerns about drainage and affecting the drainage problems in their neighborhood. Since those detention ponds have been put in, since the project is developed, we, to my knowledge, have not had any issues of concern from downstream neighbors. So the state's MS4 program is working. We do strictly enforce it. And I think that we are in a pattern here where we're dealing with a reputable engineering firm that will be conscious of those issues of stormwater runoff.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Anything else? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And we do have a resolution to refer it to the planning board a little later in the agenda. Okay, any other public concerns in the room here first? All right. And you mentioned there's some public concerns online.
Yeah, we had a message online from Ryan, I don't have his last name, questioning the hedgerows behind Elmwood Drive or Elmwood Circle. when the items will be taken out. If, we know that, and if so, how much and when. So I believe that is about, highway and building department were both out there last week in doing an assessment on the follow-up letters, or from the letters that we sent out in regards to that, and we will be sending out updated letters to the residents that still have items on the park land. I don't think at this point that we've set a time frame of exactly when, but I would imagine it would be a pretty short time frame. But we're hoping that letter will go out this week, not very beginning of that.
So thank you for that information, but relating to his comment, we have no intention of removing hedgerows.
Right.
But he needs to contact us and we get a little more detail.
He is still online. He was muted or came off of mute during Ryan's presentation, so I don't know if he would like to speak at this point. Or if that answered the question. Still out there, so I don't.
All right, so Brian, if you can hear us, please contact us during the week and we'll try and get some more information on your concern, but we're not aware of any suggestion to remove hedgerows at this time. Anybody else?
He did respond back. Just wanted to make sure it was not getting removed. So that was his only concern, that the hedgerow was not being.
All right. Again, please reach out to us with your address so we can document that for the town clerk's messages here, part of the minutes. And I appreciate your comments. Planning committee, public works.
Public Works met this morning, right here in this room at our usual time. We got updates from water and sewer and highway and parks. I'll start with water and sewer. At the treatment plant, the clay valve has now been installed and there's got some pressure settings to do on that. We also discussed the bioscoop pilot plan that we've been doing, talked a little more about that. The low lift pump cooling fans still need to be replaced. They're still working on that. The valve gasket pump has been delivered, ready to be installed. They're waiting on the lockout tag out equipment so that they can be put in place. Replacement part for the UV disinfectant system have been shipped. They got some quotes from a few different companies for that all the rest equipment. Whether we can get that purchased, and then the New York State DEC has completed their facility inspection of the building. That was done on the 23rd. The switch gear for the generator will be tested by Colosino Industries on the 14th. Okay, as far as water mains, the project on 332 and 96 is coming along very well. Pipe is in both directions and been connected, and pressure testing and disinfectant will follow. Farmington, the guys have been working out on Town Line Road, doing that water main project. I think they got most of that completed. That will have the pressure testing and disinfectant done and be back in service shortly. The flow meters are going out in different locations. That's on the list. PS 25, we discussed that for the completion of installation there. For the DOH inspection report has been received. Book Road water main repair. We got some issues there that we got a small leak that they got to check out and do some more work there. About it for them. They got a few resolutions we talked about them this morning. That's about it for there. Highway and parks, there are ongoing equipment maintenance, they're out mowing roadsides. They've been out cleaning ditch and trimming trees. Fall cleanup is this weekend. It is on Friday and Saturday, and I'll let you give them the times, since I didn't write it down. Building and park maintenance going on, mowing and trails are being done. They've been painting crosswalks and paving Auburn Meadows trailhead at Retention Road. We had discussion this morning on the Mud Creek log jam, how we're gonna try to mitigate that and get that out of there so we don't have more flooding. There's one resolution on here, we can talk about that. That's all I have.
Thanks, Ron. Town operations.
The town operations met this morning, 4 resolutions we can talk about as they come up. We did learn today that the traffic study for the public hearing we're talking about the Farmington Market Center, that project, we are expecting the traffic study from Fisher Associates sometime this week. Which will be good, then we can have time to review it. Hopefully close the public hearing on that, which will be all the information. DOT has signed off on the initial phase 1 for the TAP project. Basically just assigned and accepted Fisher Associates as the engineer for that grant. We're also looking at when there's a resolution tonight about the GTC and UPWP, which there's a lot of acronyms where I can fill in what that acronym stands for, but there's a grant application there to basically in line with the TAP grant to also look at other areas of the town where we can improve the pedestrian access. And one of the main issues being pedestrian traffic along 332 in areas where there aren't good sidewalk crossings or there isn't a sidewalk. So like north of Clett Road, we have a lot of pedestrian traffic, people walking down to the stores. So there'll be a resolution discussing that about a grant that would cover a good portion of the feasibility study to look for then get further grant money to fill in some more pedestrian access. We've had some issues with Auburn Meadows and the need to extend a letter of credit there for some repairs that need to be done. Still waiting on Ontario County Tourism for their report regarding short-term rentals and Airbnbs. And once we get that, look at potentially a local law for that. Doing some more site improvements at Delaware River, planting some trees, and looking at maybe changing the design of one of the berms on the project. And still have not gotten a response from the DOT about when the no parking signs along 332 will be posted. Continue to have problems with large trucks parking on the shoulder and blocking the view of vehicles trying to exit some of the plazas there. Everything else we posted on the website.
Thanks, Nate. I also wanted to make sure everybody knew Mike Cassell is necessarily absent and should be back in town this Saturday. Reports of other town officials. Supervisor, this morning I attended Carroll County Economic Development Committee meeting. One of the things that came out of that was a need for warehouse space in the 25 to 50,000 square foot. They cannot find any in Ontario County. And the second thing is looking for closed restaurants that have space in it with a kitchen for some startup companies that are currently working in Geneva at the startup agricultural plant there. They're now looking to expand, but there is nothing, at least in our area here, that's available at the time. So I'll have a little bit more under finance. Highway parks.
Just to put the date out there, or the times, Friday 8 to 6 for the cleanup, and Saturday is 8 to 3. Shredding usually goes from 11 to 1. That's sort of 2 hours. And just to give an update on Town Line Road, Jim Fletcher told me that Seneca Paving should be getting a hold of us to get the stencils so we can put the arrows on Town Line Road. Eliminate some confusion of which lane you're supposed to be in. So we're hoping to get here this week, hopefully tomorrow, and we get painted on there
Right.
before the weather changes. Other than that, I do have some pipe ordered for Rossford and Maxwell that we have to place up there around the time, so that will be coming up in the future. Hope to keep the roads open one lane. That's a little bit of time, but there's pipes that need to be replaced down there. Other than that,
Thanks, Jim. Town clerk.
In front of you, board members, is the 2023 preliminary budget. That's it.
Thank you. Building and zoning. There's, I'm gonna do water and sewer first.
Two of the projects that you mentioned, the flow testing that we're doing in the sanitary sewer system and pump station 25 required confined space entry by personnel. So we began that training today. That's the first of it, and that will continue. I ordered some of our confined space equipment today. So I found a vendor that had suitable air monitoring equipment. And I see that you have a resolution and agenda on the waiver for pump station 25. So I hope that it's successful tonight. We can continue on with that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Dan, building and zoning.
As we go into fall here, we normally see our permit numbers start to decrease a little bit. For September, we still did 100 permits, but we're not really seeing that decrease due to the weather being so nice in September. When the weather changes, it's usually when that decrease comes. Total permits for the year, 769 permits. We completed 283 inspections in September. We did 54 fire inspections. That number is so high due to Finger Lakes Hotel. Each room we had to do an individual inspection of due to the situation that was happening up there. So that has been resolved and they're on a good path moving forward now. So we're happy to see that. 7 stormwater inspections and then 36 zoning inspections. A couple of events coming up that I've talked about at the other town board meetings is the trunk and treat is October 22nd, noon to 2, here at the town hall or town park, sorry. And then the pumpkin walk is at Beaver Creek Park, 6:30 to 8.
That's sponsored by
Kiwanis and the Chamber of Commerce.
From King Chamber.
Okay. They're joint on that.
All right, great, thanks. Planning board, Adrian?
Last meeting, we gave preliminary approval for electric car corner there in 96, the old building next to Family Dollar. And obviously our next meeting, we don't have anything on the agenda, so we have a week off. November will probably be busy.
All right. All right, thank you. Ron, Director of Planning and Development.
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate the UPWP grant is a prerequisite of GTC, the Genesee Transportation Council. The UPWP stands for the Unified Planning Work Program, which justifies the need for the capital improvements associated with CAP grants or the Transportation Alternative Program. And if you like acronyms, I can give you more, but just to make things simple, this study is necessary to justify the need for the next phase, because we already know, given the state of the concrete industry, the shipping delays, delivery delays, inflated prices that everybody's getting these days for concrete, that we're not going to be able to accomplish as much as we thought we were going to do in the initial TAP grant. Added to that are some issues that need further evaluation. I think Councilman Bowerman touched on one of them, which is people walking along the shoulders of 352, which is not a safe condition at all. The other one is that we need to be able to provide pedestrian connectivity to the sites in Farmington and Victor, for that matter, gypsum mills, that are dependent on the commercial core here in Farmington for the jail needs. And then finally, we need to give some serious evaluation to how we are going to address the intersection of Hook and Colette Road when pedestrian crossings become reality. So among just top 3 items, these are things that we're going to be looking at in the study. As you know, we recently had major improvements to the state police barracks and a new crime lab facility and not 1 inch of sidewalk along our major corridor because of there being an exempt organization. So we're trying to identify all these issues in the feasibility study that we're dealing with. Just to elaborate on what Councilman Bowerman also said was state DOT has approved the initial intended use plan for the CAP project. It looks as though we will be completing survey work here this fall. We will be designing and going to the public with the projects that we will be able to undertake next year, and hopefully awarding a contract next fall to have construction in 2024 to complete these priority areas that are missing sidewalks today. With that, the only other thing I have is we have posted today the town operations memo on the town website for everybody to review. We continue to see new projects come along, and we won't forget the state DOT and keep hammering them down to those no parking or no standing signs.
I somehow thought you were going to definitely bring that up at the end.
Yeah, I have to keep after those boys.
Thanks, Ron. Bill, town engineer.
Yeah, just to reiterate a few things, you've already kind of touched on, but Route 96, 332 is going well. We are trying to schedule a job meeting for that project so that we can kind of get a schedule to see how we can wrap that up and disinfect and put that back into service, which would be great. We are still waiting on UH approval for the next phase of Route 332 water main replacement, so we'll reach back out to them to see where they stand there. We're waiting on a report for the biosolids dryer pilot that was undertaken at Northwest. And then we're just assisting the town in closing out the manhole rehab project. So that'll be a good thing to be able to report to DEC. We have some more manholes that have been rehabbed in the collection system. And then there's 2 proposals under waiver of the rule for wastewater treatment plant drainage and paving improvements, and then a concept plan for growth. So any questions at the time didn't come up?
All right, thanks, Bill. We don't have the assessor tonight on the recreation. The recreation advisory committee meeting did meet last week, 2 weeks ago now. And then they made recommendations for the playgrounds that will be replaced in Farmbrook and Hortensia. So our next town board meeting will have the dollar amounts and the resolution on the playgrounds. One is out of this year's budget and one is out of next year's budget. You guys have any questions on that?
So we're going to get a hold of Martha after public work?
And then,
Okay. All right.
And I talked to him too.
Okay. As long as you're aware, since you're the one that said that.
Yeah. On the finance side, town clerk did mention that we have the 2023 preliminary budget. It's already on the website for people to review. I wrote the memo on Friday, and I just want to touch base on some of the paragraphs on the 1-page memo. Attached, please find the 2023 preliminary budget for all departments and districts. This has been completed with some minor adjustments to the general fund revenues and expenses, BLT revenues, water and sewer revenues and expenses, and adjustments made after the town board budget workshops. This budget is $335,412 under the New York State tax levy limit. General appropriation funds are down from the 2022 budget by 475,000 and some change. Highway appropriations are up by almost 581,000 from the 2022 budget. Most of this is due to the increased costs in road materials. One of the examples I think we used in a previous town board meeting was just the paint used in breaking the roads had doubled in this past year. We're still planning on keeping the town general and highway tax rate with the preliminary budget here is $1.02,000, which is the same as 2022. Drainage district tax rate is up 4.33%. The fire district tax rate is up 2.60%. As always, water expenses and sewer expenses continue. Revenues are slightly higher, and the water tax rate will go up 1.75% for 2023. 4 sidewalk districts are up, 2 are down, and 1 new sidewalk district has been added to the budget. And then in 2023, like 2022, we did work with the Victor Farmington Ambulance Corps, and they'll get an additional $100,000 in funds over what we gave them in the 2022 budget. And the town of Victor is the same way, and the same dollar amount. Overall, the good news is that our town board and staff worked very hard in the 2023 budget. This made the process easier than past years. I asked the town clerk to publish a legal notice that will have a public hearing on the 25th, our next meeting in October, on the preliminary budget. And also we'll have a resolution tonight for 2 of the fire districts. We'll have public hearings on their budgets on the 25th also. Salaries, town supervisor, 60,000 plus 11,800 is budget officer. Town clerk, $67,216.62. Highway superintendent, $74,251 plus $15,500 for the Parks Department supervision. Town justices, $25,867.74. And town councilman, $6,026 for each position. Any questions on the preliminary budget? Okay, hearing none, communications are on file, reports and minutes are on file, and we'll go to resolutions. The resolution 1 is to continue the public hearing and further deliberations on the Farmington Market Center and Senate rezoning action to our next meeting Tuesday evening, October 25th, commencing at 7 p.m. So,
Second.
motion is second, comments, questions, all in favor? Aye. 2 is a resolution setting a public hearing for the 2023 town budget for Tuesday, October 25th at 7:01 p.m. Second. Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. 3 is a confirming resolution authorizing the town supervisor to electronically sign the snow contract with Ontario County for the 2022-2023 season. So, we get paid to plow and sand the county roads. All in favor? Aye. Resolution authorizing acceptance of the monthly report of the supervisor for September 2022.
Second.
Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution authorizing the town supervisor to sign the 2023 fireworks exhibit agreement from Young Explosives.
Second.
So we're doing this a little earlier than normal, but they offered a discount. So 10% additional fireworks if you everybody that they deal with gets their application in by I think the end of this month. So That's why we put it on the agenda now. And, the amount includes $1,000 again for 2023 from the Farmington Chamber. They agreed to, assist us with, more fireworks. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Six, a resolution authorizing the sale of surplus equipment from the town of Farmington Water and Sewer Department.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 5 pieces of equipment there. 7 is a resolution award quote for New York State fence for continuation of the security fencing at wastewater treatment plant on 1216 McMahon Road at a cost not to exceed $18,500. So moved. Motion is second. Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Hopefully they'll get it done this year. 8 is a resolution authorizing final payment for New York State Industries was disabled for document scanning. So moved. Again, this was a grant, and we scanned all the building department stuff minus what we need to do in the next grant, which will include some of the water and sewer department stuff. So this is $70,483. And it was funds that went from not only fiscal year 22, but 2021. All in favor? Aye. 9 is a resolution authorizing the budget amendments, transferring money from transportation and distribution, help personnel, and transportation and distribution personnel overtime in the water budget.
So
Second. Motion is second, and it's for $10,000. All in favor? Aye. That is a resolution adopting the employee handbook.
So moved.
Second.
We have a policy where we give our employees 2 weeks' notice. This is a month later from the time we gave the information out for your feedback. There's just some small changes in the employee's handbook. And so that's why we're asking the town board to approve it tonight. All in favor? Aye. And all the employees will get a electronic copy of their paychecks Flex account of the new. Proposed resolution authorizing more budget amendments, transferring money from DLT funding to building. Pardon? Oh, I skipped 11, sorry. Resolution 11 is resolution setting the public hearing for the 2023 fire contracts for Farmington and Manchester Fire Departments. So,
Second.
motion is second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you for keeping on track. Resolution 12, authorizing the budget amendments, transferring money from DLT funding to building contractual and engineering contractual in the total amount of $30,000, and from revenue services, other governments to public safety contractual in the total amount of $7,000.
So
Second.
A total of $37,000. All in favor? Aye. 13 will require a roll call vote. The resolution to convey lands on which Town Trail is located to Town Trail Recycling LLC.
So moved.
This has been going back and forth between highway superintendent, Ron's the planning director, and our town attorneys for 2-3 months, and we finally got all the correct paperwork to have it on the agenda for tonight. Any questions from the board? Roll call vote, please.
Supervisor Engelsby,
Aye.
Councilman Bowerman,
Aye.
Councilman Yardine,
Aye.
Councilman Holmes.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. 14 is a resolution accepting and approving the submissions of the 2023-2024 Genesee Transportation Council United Planning Work Program application, Town of Farmington Sidewalk Trail and Bike Lane Master Plan Phase 2 feasibility study.
Second.
And this is what Ron had talked about earlier. Any other questions? And then we are doing a share with that total cost. So some will be in kind, service, and some of it will be from our capital project and sidewalks. All in favor? Aye. 15 is a resolution authorizing equipment from the Highway and Parks Department to be declared a surplus so that it can be disposed of at the town cleanup.
Second.
And this is Gasboy computer system monitor, HP printer, no longer used in that system. All in favor? Aye. 16 is a resolution requesting a report and recommendation from the planning board on a request to rezone lands locally located generally along the north side of, say, Route 96, south side of Collette Road, and west of County Road 8, to be known as the Powers Incentive Rezoning Project.
Second.
Motion second. This is the presentation we had at the beginning of the meeting. So we'll refer all the application to the planning board and they'll get back to us in November. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye. 17 is the abstract number 19, 2022 to pay the bills. General fund, $123,891.17. Highway fund, $12,821.51. Beaver Creek Park, $1,090. Route 332-96 water line, $2,315. SIP lining capital project, $375. Water tank repair, $1,658.31. Storm drainage, $1,115.95. Sewer district, $116,684.50. Water district, $445,339.37. Payroll deductions, $111.74. Total abstract, $705,402.05. I have a motion to approve. So moved. Second. Motion is second. Any abstentions, corrections? All in favor? Aye. We do have trading listed there at or under $100. I do have next on the discussion agenda with the address at 1069 Azano Circle in Victor. Again, they paid late. Requested that we consider waiving the $18 charge. They basically admitted in their letter that they mailed it late. Mailed it on a Thursday or Friday, and it had to be here Monday morning by 8 o'clock, and it wasn't really punched in until like Tuesday or Wednesday. By the time the town clerk's office after that. So just looking for comments from the town board.
Yeah, I mean, I read it, it basically said they wrote the check and then put it in the pile and didn't mail it. So.
Right. They know that they can come directly and drop it in their drop box too.
I don't know.
All right. No. Okay. Well, someone know. Thank you. We do have an executive session tonight, but he promised we at least consider the waiver of the rules first before we go into executive session. Any objections to the waiver of the rules? We have 4 resolutions. Okay, hearing none. First one, resolution authorizing the installation of pumps and valves for pump station 25 located at 752 Wyndham Road, Victor, New York, at a cost not to exceed $32,944. Type of $32,944. So, second. All right, and the resolution is actually $35,000 in case there's more to it than the quote we received.
And that is a shared cost.
And that is shared cost with the town of Victor. Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. And I did talk to Dan this afternoon, so that's why got them to lower the price by a couple thousand.
I'm sure you were aware.
Number 2, resolution authorizing town supervisor to sign a proposal for professional services with MRB. This is for the wastewater treatment plant pavement and drainage improvements of cost not to exceed $9,500. So move. Second. Motion second. Again, we brought up the public works this morning. We got to basically do the study first and figure out what, if any, pipes in the ground need to be replaced before we pave over the top. Or as Ron said, there's probably stuff there in the ground that's been disconnected for years.
That can be removed.
Can be removed, yes. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. 3 is a resolution authorizing the council supervisor to sign a proposal for professional services from MRV Group for the Grove Park site improvements at a cost not to exceed $9,800. And so the Grove Park has been neglected over the years. We need more parking. Victor Baseball wants to use one of the fields for their Little League, and there's just not enough parking. So this study is going to look at the current raised, used to be a hockey rink and basketball court, and look at that to see if we can use that area for parking. There's drainage lines there, look to see where that goes, and anything else. Just for the town board, I've been able to let you know this, but I did reach out to Victor Little League, Victor Baseball, they call it, and they are still interested in helping us financially with one field at the Grove Parks. We have meetings and discussions through the winter on that. We have money in the capital project to assist not only with the parking and anything else that MRB comes up with, but to at least improve one of the 2 baseball fields at the Grove Park. Any comments?
Could have them maybe at one of our meetings, once we get a concept plan put together. Take a look at it.
Yes, yeah, we'll definitely look forward for a concept plan and probably ask a couple people from the Recreation Advisory Committee to sit on that too. All in favor? Aye. 4 is a resolution authorizing acceptance of the water and utility and stormwater management facilities easements from common. This also requires a roll call vote. So, second. Motion second. Any comments, questions?
Supervisor Langley.
Aye.
Councilman Bauerman.
Aye.
Councilman Heraldine. Councilman Holtz.
All right, motion passed. I don't have any. Is there any other public concerns before we go into the executive session? Can we go online? Public concerns? Comments?
No, everybody's dropped off.
Okay. I need a resolution. Where is it? To go into executive session to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. So, motion to second, and probably about 20 minutes. We'll be back here and adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for attending. All in favor? Aye. Everyone, wow.